This is Trench Dig Deep interview series, episode 2. Finally, getting more people coming in, a couple more booked. So the purpose of this is to highlight mental health and who you can reach out for help. This is basically our struggles and how we've overcome them in the past. Andy's Man Club, as I've said before, our mental health classes next door. Who else? Sam H, Women's Aid. Like there's a list. The list is endless in Fife. So if you need any signposted information, then just give us a shout. So I'm Gordon, as you know. First guest. I've given him 3 topics. So introduce yourself.
Right, so hi everyone, I'm Martin Kerlin. You'll probably know me from hearing me in the gym more than anything else. I'm the guy that shouts breathe a lot, and I'm not going to apologise for that either. This year's a special year for me. I'm actually 60 this year, so I expect a few presents in the post and a few cards as well. I'm married to Gaynor. I've got one son, Adam. He's grown up now, he's about 30. Originally from Glasgow, so the reason I came to Fife and found myself in the kingdom was I started work at Mossmorran, which spookily enough is shutting down this year as well. And that's how I started life off as a young engineer coming into the area. So West meets East.
West meets East.
Aye.
So what do you do for work now?
So now I work with a large American company called Rockwell Automation, and I do like industrial control systems and cyber security for those to protect the businesses and the plants. I'm also doing a bit of work with renewables and things like that, so obviously a big growth area, so I do a bit of that as well, and I've been with Rockwell for about 5 years now, so it's okay, it's good, it has its ups and downs like every job.
Like every job, exactly. So let's get straight into it. Trench, how long have you been training at Trench?
So I've been at Trench now was about 5 years now, so I think I spent a year at Took, and I spent 4 years here ever since it's opened up and what have you. So yeah, 5 years. Aye, good timing.
Why did you start Trench?
Why did I start Trench? Well, aye, probably lots of reasons. One of the main reasons was I'd been diagnosed with osteoarthritis in both my hips, and I used to play a lot of football and do walks and running and what have you, and I was finding I wasn't enjoying the football because the day after any game I was walking like a penguin for about 2 or 3 days, and I found that I just had to find something different. And I actually met a guy that we both know called Paddy McAllister, his son, in Kingsgate Shopping Centre one day, and he had been to Trench and he suggested I try it, and it was never on my radar, but I thought, why not? And I came along one day, boxing at 55, aye, why not, right? So I'm always open to try new things, and that's when I came along to Took, walked through the door for the first time.
Yep, that's good. I'm just going to quickly bounce down the board to keep us on track.
Right, yeah.
So how do you feel, so when you first came to Trench, were you coming to the normal classes or the mental health classes?
I came to normal classes, so I'll give you a laugh. This is interesting. The first night I walked into Trench, I walked in and I watched a couple of young guys springing from the floor and touching the roof as they're part of their warm-up. Maybe over-exaggerating that, but that's what it felt like when I walked in and I went, what the hell am I doing here, right? And then I spent the session that night training in between 2 people, Laura and Lindsay. And because I didn't know how to box, I didn't know how to hit a bag, but I was listening to these 2 women hitting the bag and the sound it was making. And again, I questioned myself, what the hell are you doing here? But it got better. It got better through time, right? It got better.
That's brilliant.
Aye.
Right, so I know your story. Do you want to start telling your story about how your mental health changed?
Aye. So the first mental health incident, first of all, I'll go back a little bit of my childhood. I probably not shared this with a lot of people. My mum had problems with a bipolar disorder. And I can remember as a kid, 7 and 8, trying to get my mum out of bed and she wouldn't get out of bed and things like that. So there's thing in the back of my memory goes way back to that. And I often worried about me and my sisters if we would have anything as a result of that. Thankfully, touch wood, we haven't had to date, and we're all pretty up in years, which is okay. But I remember those situations with my mum. My own situation goes back to 2016. And I was the type of guy who handled pressure, thought they could handle pressure, could handle anything. I was the type of guy I felt I wore big pants and had a cloak on the back of my, and I could do it. I could handle anything, right? But the build up to what happened to me, the end point, if I give you a picture, the end point, I met the MD of our business, who I was a director in the business as well, and I met him down in Grangemouth at McD's for a coffee. And he knew something was wrong because I'd arranged to meet with him, and I told him something was wrong. And I broke down greeting at that meeting. And I went, wow. And it just all came to a head at that point.
Mhm.
And then after that, I had to take 3 months off my work. I was off, that was the 6th of December 2016. I had to take a couple of months off my work because when I went to a therapist and they gave me a wee bit of therapy as part of my recovery to try and help me recover. And the lassie basically said, as we say in Glasgow, and this is a Glaswegian thing, I was like a burst couch. A burst couch, there's no energy, done, tank was empty, you thought you can keep doing everything, but you couldn't. And the build up to that was over years, I think, particularly 12, 18 months before I started to tell myself negative things. I started to say to myself, you're not worth anything, you're not doing well, you're rubbish at what you're doing. And that was me. People know me now, they go, what? But that was me, and I was building up, and it just built up to a head.
I think we're all our own worst critic, aren't we?
Aye.
Especially in the sport of boxing as well.
Oh, aye.
Like, fighters are their own worst for everything. Like, if your fight's not perfect for you,
Aye.
regardless if the coach or your family,
Aye.
your fans, regardless what they say, their opinion doesn't really matter. It's your opinion of
No.
you
Aye.
that drags you down.
Aye.
That's what
So
same
I guess
idea.
all athletes have that,
Yep,
right?
aye,
I guess I wouldn't describe myself as a top athlete like you were,
You're a top businessman.
but you know what? You know what it was? That I was just, I wanted to be good at everything. So I was a wee bit of perfectionist at times. At times, you just can't be like that all the time. And I was just negative, talking to myself negatively. I mean, I'll get up in the morning, I'll give you an example. I'll get up in the morning and I was going to shave and go, what the hell are you doing this for? You're going to do this all your life. And that was shaving I was talking about to myself. You're going to shave all your life. What's all this about? Where's the end? Where are you going with this?
Just keep a beard.
Just keep a beard. I always like to be clean shaven. But the thing is, there was just little things like that getting in the way.
Aye.
I think my work environment didn't help me. So one thing I'd like to put out to everybody is, I was with the same company for 20 years. I invested all my time. I became a director. I was a shareholder. Everything was going fine. I then got to another point later on, which I can share with you later on. And and my environment wasn't helping because it wasn't a nurturing environment. It was bad. It just didn't, in some ways it didn't suit me. But the other thing is, I found towards the end of it, I probably should have left the job I was in 5 years before because I was bored with it. I wasn't going anywhere. I was spending time away from home in Aberdeen, 3 days, 2 nights a week. And I was doing that for years, right?
That was constantly dragging you down, especially for the last 5 years.
Aye.
It does.
Possibly.
Eats away, doesn't it?
Eats away.
Until it's too much.
It does eats away, and it culminated in that day at Mackie D's, cup of coffee, a latte, and I just broke down greeting. And I thought, bloody hell, what are you all about? And the guy opposite me, unfortunately, when I found out later on, I think he used to see it as a bit of a weakness, and that probably didn't help me after that, even once I came back to work. I also came back to work too early, right? If anybody's out there that's going through anything, judge the time when you're ready to go back to work. But for me, and this sounds a bit showing, I felt as the male breadwinner, because my wife Gina wasn't working, to keep things going, I had to get back to work. I had to go back to work.
You putting pressure on you, though.
Correct.
That's what we spoke about in the previous episode.
Correct, I did.
Is our pressure for us is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I'll give you another example when I thought about this to create an image for you about how low I got with that. What I used to do when I went off ill, because my son was going through exams, only my wife knew, and I didn't share it with anybody else, I didn't talk about it, I kept to myself. Every morning, I used to get ready for work, and I used to take a hiking bag in the boot of my car with me, and I used to go to the service centre just over Kincardine Bridge, go into the toilet, get changed into walking gear, and go walking in the locals. And I walked to the point you would have dropped, but I just kept walking and walking and walking. And I was nervous about meeting people, and that was me, that just wasn't me. I'm nervous about meeting, and I thought, I'm going to go to the highest point in this hill, and I'm going to shout, because I was frustrated about the way I felt. How was I going to fix it? I didn't know what the way out, the exit was at that point. How was I going to get better? because I'd never been through this thing before, and it was really bad. And I got to the top of that hill one day, and I was like a mouse. I couldn't shout. And if anybody knows me at Trench, I can shout and I can talk, but so it just wasn't me. So that also told me I was at a low point.
Aye, that something's not quite right.
Aye. Yep.
What happened with that employer? You left that? Did you leave that job?
No, I was loyal. I was too loyal. I stuck with it for another couple of years. And what they did during COVID, they managed me out of the business to the point I had to get, I won't go into it, legal people involved to come out of the business. It was probably the best thing at the time, although I didn't realise. I thought I was really badly treated because of the 20 years investment I did in my time within the business, helping other people get very rich, and did all right for myself. But it took away a lot of things like my pension that was building up to and things for the future. But 5 years since then, I'm doing all right, and things have changed around. And I think what I've realised is I don't want to ever go back to that point. I'm scared about it. I'll be honest with you, I'm scared about
So
it.
you
I don't want to go back
are
to
you
that
working
point.
less hours now?
I'm not as way as often, because I've told my employer I can't be as way. Because the other thing I've got going on at home, some folk don't know, I'm a full-time carer for my wife Gaynor now. So our situation changed over the last 2.5 years. As obviously Adam's moved away, he's with his girlfriend in Glasgow, doing his stuff. So I'm doing a full-time job plus managing Gaynor and managing the situation. But I've got help locally from family, which is good, right? You need, because the other thing I'll teach you on this is you can't do everything on your own.
You need to ask for help. Well,
ask for help.
That's the whole point of this.
Aye.
Ask for help. We'll signpost you to
the
proper department for your specific case.
Aye. So the other good thing I got from Trench, people know, obviously I've learnt a new technical skill, which has been brilliant.
Aye.
Right? Technical skill. And I love encouraging other people.
Motivational speaker.
Well, motivational speaker. But I just love encouraging other. It makes me feel good that I'm sharing. But I know when I can see people maybe struggling a wee bit, that wee shout, a wee effort, and it helps me. And if it helps other people, then great.
Very, very loud in class. You'll hear them before you see them.
Aye, unfortunately.
I've seen a couple of new people in class this morning. I seen them smirking and getting like cheering up. They were hitting the bags. It was getting tough, and then Martin was like shouting, and he see them smiling and start to pick it up a wee bit. So it definitely helps. It definitely encourages. Sometimes it annoys the life out of me, but it's encouraging to the members.
And sometimes Gordon annoys me as well. But you know, we'll not go there. But that's just the way it is. But I think I do it. I try to do it for the right reasons. It's a bit of who I am. If I didn't do it, I wouldn't be me.
Yep.
So,
how do you feel like? So, how do you? That's your life is massive, massive changes in your life. You've slowed down a little bit, but then you've got full-time care of your wife, so there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you manage it? How do you cope?
Right. Well, coming to Trench helps me. There's no doubt about that. So we just finished a session earlier on. Gordon says this morning, Saturday morning. I hadn't been all week because I've been away with my work for a couple of days. It doesn't always happen away for a couple. And I just come here and I just feel it allows me to empty. And I mean in a positive way, empty all the shit going on at work, any stuff I've had to do during the week, any of the personal, and I'm just here in the moment, training, working hard. So I'm helping myself physically and mentally. And I just feel when I come out of the class, and I've spoken to a few people as well, a bit of banter with a few folk and a bit of laugh in the class, you just feel re-energised, right? And I don't know what all the mechanics is, all the wee things that go on, the endorphins and all that people talk about, but I just know I feel better.
Of course you do. When I hit the bags, I've had a tough week or month or whatever. If I'm hitting the bags, I'm always trying to explain it as when I open the doors to leave the gym, I just feel like my world slows down right in front of my eyes like this. Everything just calms down, and I feel like that's it. I'm calm now. I can cope with this week because I've done that. Emptied the tank, as you like to shout. Emptied the tank. I feel my world just gone slowing down, and that's me. And leave. That's me back in the game.
The thing I would say it allows me to do as well, all the stupid things I've been worrying about, concerned about, were different. Don't sweat the small things. They're all small things in the scheme of things, right? You know, my company I work with is going to be there long after I'm gone, right? Don't sweat the small things. At the end of the day, looking after yourself, being good to yourself is far more important. And the other way I deal with it, you've asked me, is I talk to my friends, right? And I talk to my mates. I can talk to Gordon. I'm sure we've talked about things before. I could talk to Kenny. So one of the first guys I talked to is a guy who comes to the gym with me, a good friend of mine for years, Kenny. He shared with me, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying, coming over at the end of a five-a-side game when my hips were still okay, going across the car park, and I said, Kenny, thanks for telling me how you're feeling. I'm going to tell you I'm not feeling great either. And that, I'll never forget that moment. That was the moment I first downloaded to anybody other than my wife at that point.
Now you've got a nice wee cafe on in the morning as
yes.
well, haven't you? Same guys.
Aye, so the other things, we call it the Blues Brothers, right? And we meet we meet at 9:30 at the Fresh Cafe. Willie's come along in the past, other people come along the odd time. You come on one, and people come on, and we meet just guys that have known each other for a few years now through football and what have you, all different stories in their life going on. We can tell each other anything. And for me, as men, as males, that's so powerful, right? And I think that talking is medicine in itself.
Aye, definitely. I agree.
So that's how I cope, maybe a bit.
We always say it's good to talk, but in the hard times, like there's a wee quote jump about with Tom Hanks saying, "This too shall pass." But the tough times do pass.
Aye.
But sometimes it's a hell of a lot of work. Hard work, graft, time sacrifice, sacrificing other aspects of your life.
Yeah.
But it will pass. It will get better.
Another thing about Trench as well that's really positive, I'm going to tell you, is once you get to know people, we've got a great bunch that go on the Wednesday and the Saturday.
Tuesday now.
Tuesday and Saturday, sorry, Gordon. Tuesday and Saturday, they go, we know each other's stories a bit, right? And because we know that, we trust each other, we know it's a safe environment for us to share the odd thing or two. They might not tell us everything, that's fine, but we know it's a safe environment to do that. And I think that just helps as well. And I'm talking about male, female, families, what's going on. And when you hear somebody else's story, it actually helps you reframe yourself a wee bit. Definitely. Because you go, man, right, what am I moaning about?
It could be worse.
It could be worse, because people have worse stories than you, right? Well, we've all got our own story, and I'm not going to single out, anybody who's worse or better than other. But just hearing that and sharing that actually helps you heal.
I agree. It does. Thank you very much. Where are we going now? So motivation. You told me your motivations. You told me your struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Tough days, Trench, speaking to your pals. So we're just going to go.
Or just going out for a walk in nature, I think, as well. I like going for a walk, fresh air.
I like taking the dogs.
Helps that.
Walking the dogs, running about.
Yeah.
Playing.
I'll sometimes, I need to do a lot of the ironing. I'll sometimes have a wee dance to myself in the sunroom when I'm doing the ironing, listen to music that I like.
I like music.
Because as you know, I like dancing as well. So, and that's the other thing, I do love music, and I love good dance music. I've always been a dancer.
I've been to a band night with Mark, and I can tell you, the man can dance.
Well, at least I think I can, right?
I was trying to keep up with it. What the hell's happening here?
Aye. I think I had too many beers that night, but yeah.
That was a good
funny.
night. What else? So let's just jump to the gym, just to lift the mood a wee bit.
Yes.
So what's your favourite exercise in the gym?
I love the 180s. I can't lie.
180 squats.
I love the 180 squats on the floor. I see everybody moaning, and I go, this is brilliant. I love this. And I just got on with it. But I do love hitting the bag, and I love going down to the mid-bay position, hitting the bag, because sometimes I'll say to Gordon, let's change it up a bit. Hold it halfway. I love the squats in the bag. And I love when we get a combination to do, and you get it, and you start to flow with it, and you start to move it. So it's almost like dancing in some ways, because you start to flow with it a bit, You
need the feet,
Need the feet.
What's your favourite music type?
I love a lot of music. Any 80s music is good to dance with, but because my parents were both Irish, and I've got an Irish background, then one thing years ago when I first heard it, people laugh at me. I've done it when I've been a wee bit drunk. I love the River Dance. So the River Dance was played at a Eurovision. Gordon's too young to remember this. Years ago at a Eurovision, the River Dance was played for the first time, and I just went, wow. That just gave me an energy, a fire. It was like a fire inside. So I've always loved to think I was an Irish dancer, but I'm not very good. So I love Irish music, traditional music, anything that's fast and it's got a rhythmic to it. I like that, yeah.
Oh, it was great chatting to you.
Thank you very much, Gordon.
Telling, hopefully our viewers, millions of viewers soon.
Hope it's helped a wee bit.
If you have got any questions, if you need signposted in any aspect of your life that you're struggling with, then give us a message. And thanks very much to the man, the myth, the legend.
No.
Just breathe, man.
Thank you, breathe.